Okay, so the first thing we need to do to set up for our show is label all of the product. So you can kind of see here I have a master copy that basically has the channel, the cue, and the name of every firework. So then each firework gets a label that corresponds with this. For example, you'll see here Bronkbuster on top. You'll see channel 1, Q6, Bronkbuster. Now you can put more information on this if you wanted to. We don't need that. All we need is the channel, because the channel indicates where it goes in the field, and the cue because that tells me where to plug into the module. Again, this will be a scripted show, so this is extremely helpful to coordinate where everything goes in the field. So you'll see here that we've already started to do multiple different products. So that's the first step, is labeling all this stuff. Once it's labeled, we will take it out to the shoot site. Then we'll start plugging in all of the igniters and start dropping the field and continue setup. So this is the shoot site for our 4th of July 2016 firework display. It might look familiar because we just did a show here not too long ago. If you kind of look, you can see a ring in the foreground, and that will be about where the first line of positions are. And then behind that will be the 200 gram cakes, and behind that will be the 500 gram cakes. So we're gonna go ahead and get started setting up. Okay, so what we're doing right now is staking out the positions. You kind of see here we got 1, 2, and 3, and those will be the 500 gram positions, and then halfway between myself and those will be the 200s, and then basically where I'm standing will be all the front effects. So I have a bunch of stakes here in the front left of the screen, and I'm going to use those to stake out each position, and you'll see he is already carrying cakes to whatever position they're supposed to be in. So basically, as soon as we get all the cakes in those positions, we'll start wiring them up and stabilizing them, and you'll be surprised how quickly we'll set this thing up. Alright, so all the cakes are in position. You'll see here there's actually 13 total positions. We'll walk the field here in a second. But I did not need to use 13 modules, but I decided why not. I actually borrowed them, so they're not actually mine. And you see this man over here in the corner? He's been a ton of help, so I couldn't have done this without him. So I'm glad he's here with me today. But anyways, just kind of want to show you guys the layout. Basically, there's 3 positions for the 500 gram cakes. They're spaced 50 feet apart, and then 50 feet closer is the 200 gram line here, and those are spaced 25 feet apart. And then again, another 50 feet closer, and then we have the front line. Basically consists of a few comments, strobe pot, and a small cake. And again, that's 50 feet forward, and then 25 feet between each position. So that's the basic layout, and we'll continue setting up. Okay, so each position needs everything staked down, or at least we're going to do so for this show. So for example, these are all single hit effects. So some of them are at angles, some of them are straight up. So basically each one is going to have its own stake, and then we're going to Gorilla Tape each effect to the stake, and then we'll start plugging in. But anyways, we're just going to go ahead and start doing that while the camera's rolling. So the first effects we have, for example, are white strobes. These just need to be staked straight up. Same with the torches. So all 3 of these guys are straight. This cake here, that'll be straight up as well. One of the aqua comments, this will be an angle. This is angle, I actually noted on it which angle this one goes. This one's straight, and I'm not sure about that one. So anyways, these ones here, we'll just start with those, start staking them straight up. Basically, I'm gonna just keep them, the torches and the strobes, kind of put them in front here. The comments slightly behind. Same with the cake. So we'll just start with the, that one's straight. These are all some sort of angle. So we'll start with these ones here in front. So let's go ahead and move this back a bit. You guys can see, got the hammer? Yeah, so literally we're just gonna stake them down here in the front. Just straight up? Yeah, so I'm thinking like literally like, just wanna hammer a couple of them in there. Just give them a few inches apart, that way they don't light the other one. And yeah, these things are, for example, the strobes, we're actually gonna literally tape them to the top here, like so. But this cake we'll have mounted at the bottom. So the cake is really the stable one that we want to make sure it's stable. And like this itself will also be at the top. We'll kind of do something like that. Matter of fact, let's do that while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that one, make sure that one's good in there good. For example, this guy here. Sir? Let's tape that on there. And this is just a flame, so I'm not really worried about that thing tipping. Same with the strobes here. We're just gonna really mount the strobe like that. One thing I want to make sure is I don't cover the Q number there. So I'll tell you what, doing this multiple times in a week really makes your knees raw. Alright, because my knees are sore. So basically that's all we need to do. We're going to do the same thing with this white strobe over here and this guy in the middle. This guy literally can stay just like it is.
You want angle effects in the middle or in
the
front?
angle effects like right here.
In the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more straights you need?
Yeah, there's one more straight of comments, and then I have to confirm the angles for the others. Okay. This one. No, let's just do all the comments right. Because all the comments should be should be shooting that way, so we'll put the straight one like right here.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Straight on the outside.
Yeah, because they're not going to crisscross. Not that they would ever hit in there anyway, but just as a precaution there. And you'll see here we're actually using the Firewire Initiators, which are actually consumer legal, work just as good as eMatch. So this is the first show I've done with them completely, so I'm pretty excited to see those in action. You'll see here, like, this is a fountain or a flame item I actually picked up at a Steak and Sane tent. Figured we'd incorporate into the show, so that's exactly what we're doing. All right, let's continue staking.
Okay.
Okay, we finally finished staking everything down. We're gonna kind of walk the field and kind of show you what's going on. So anyways, again, we staked every single piece down. So these positions up front, you'll actually see here we have some kind of angled comets. They're gonna be kind of doing some crisscross patterns, which I think will be pretty cool if they work. I've never done this before personally, so this is a first for me. And you'll see here we also up front have some strobes as well as that flame from Phantom. So let's go ahead and walk back to the 200 gram line. So again, 5 positions, and they kind of mirror each other. So the 2 positions on the far ends and then the 2 positions second from the ends have the exact same product. So we're just gonna go check out a couple of these, kind of see what we did, and then we'll pop back to the 500 grams and check that out as well. So you see here, again, everything's staked down. I ran out of, I prefer to use Gorilla Tape or some sort of packaging tape, but I ran out of some tape, so I switched to masking tape, and I wouldn't recommend that, but I wrapped it a lot, and I think we have tape coming later, which we will reinforce. You'll see here, we got those large Roman candles. Those are actually just report candles. We didn't know that buying them. We just bought them. We're planning on putting them in the show, but they just report, so that's just going to be part of the finale. Again, we're using the Firewire Initiators, which is the blue and white wires, and that's how you know those are Firewire Initiators opposed to Talons or eMatch, is based on the color of the wire. So let's go ahead and come back here. This position here has not been wired up yet. He meaning my associate Jonah is finishing wiring the positions. He's again been a ton of help. It's just been us two. I tell you what, another person or two would have made this a lot easier. So you'll see here the 500 gram cakes, they all have 2 stakes. Again, we ran out of tape, so we should have more coming later, so I can reinforce these even better. So for example, anyways, I made sure all the fans were facing the correct direction. Obviously this one is pretty obvious which way it needs to face, but there are other ones that aren't so obvious. So let me show you one over here that I actually faced the wrong direction and I saw it before I finished sticking it in. And I'll tell you why. So you see this cake right here, 19th hole. It's a rectangle, right? So I just assumed it was a straight shooter. However, if you come in close here, hope my shadow's not in the way, right here in front, that is what told me that it was an angled cake. I was like, what are you doing? Oops, sorry, my camera's falling down. Because if you look at some of the other cakes, for example, obviously this one is angled cake because it looks like it, but look at the arrow on that. Very obvious that that's an angled cake. Even this brother cake up here, again, very obvious that it's supposed to be an angled cake, but that one wasn't so obvious. And that's exactly what happened that show I did where the cake was angled the wrong direction. It was a square cake, and honestly just didn't think about it, and we were pressed for time. So those factors obviously mean you miss things. So here's this other 500 gram position. I say 500 gram, but obviously you can tell there are a few 200 grams, but all the 500s are back here. That's why I keep calling it that. And again, this position matches the far position, mirrors it. And then same with the 200 grams. For example, this position and this position mirror the two positions on the far end there. So yeah, we are, again, he is finishing plugging things in. We're going to run continuity tests, then we will do a signal test, make sure we have good signal. I don't suspect we'll have any issues because, again, the middle position to where I'm going to shoot, which is kind of up here by the flowers there, that's also where the audience will be. It's about 180 to 200 feet, which is perfect for a show of this size, hence why the 500 grams are way back here, while we move the 200 grams and even the small stuff even closer. Okay, so I will check in with you guys in a few. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is we're going to do a continuity test. Basically everything's hooked up. We're going to attach the antennas. We're going to turn the unit on to test mode, which you'll see here, test in the top left. Whenever you do turn on a unit, regardless of if you're turning to test or otherwise, you always want to make sure you're not over any product. You don't want to be sitting on top of a cake or anything like that. So we went to test mode. I'll confirm this is on the correct channel, channel 9. We have cues on 1 through 8, so I push test. You probably can't see that in the camera, but I can see that cues 1 through 8 have continuity. Also, whenever we get the shooter station set up, I'll be able to see that from the remote as well. But again, since I'm already out here, I might as well do this while I'm here. So this module is good. We're going to go ahead and turn the module back off and move on to the next position. Okay, so we have finished setting up. We're going to do one more test, and I'm also going to show you guys something really cool. So you kind of see out in the field all the different positions, and I'm where I'm planning on shooting. I'm on a slight hill, so I have an elevated view of the shooting site. I'll also have better signal up here, and then of course, just for recording purposes, it should be better up here as well. The audience will be about 50 feet to my right. So all the modules should currently be on in test mode, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm using to kind of keep track of everything that's going on in the show. So if we pan down here, this is called the Cobra Control Panel. This is still version 4.0 or the beta release. There is a new version coming out shortly that's got a lot of cool features. I wanted to use it tonight, but it's not currently out, and it just wasn't ready for me to test and show you guys. So let me go ahead and connect. Okay. Hope you guys can see this. Hard to tell through the screen. So basically, if you look here at this list, you'll see all of my modules here. So you can see the key position, the mode, the signal strength, the battery levels, as well as continuity. All the green means I have continuity. If I was missing continuity and the vent was in my script, it would be red, and you'll see here they're all green, which means everything has continuity. You do see a couple numbers popping in and out of orange here. That's just showing that they're at 60s. However, that's perfectly fine. 60s is no issue. We will fire just fine at 60. So if we come over here to my script, go to show controls, my script will load here. I'm sorry if there's a glare on the screen. I'm trying to do this the best I can in this light. Here, actually, if we turn up the brightness here, maybe that'll help a little bit. Yeah, maybe. So anyways, this is the script here. So all of the events are in this list, so I can actually see exactly when they're fired, what's previously fired, what's next to fire. So in my previous video I was panning to this. Well, it was because it was the first time I did a show using it by myself, so I was really excited to watch it in action. I don't know if I can if you guys can read this, but basically at 5 seconds into the script, which is basically the start, you'll see here I have 4 desert nights going, which are basically fountains to fish breaks, followed with mechanical bug that goes at the same time, leads into 2 fishy. They're all fish effects, so it kind of blends it all together, and then we kind of move forward. I pop different things together and blend things together really well based on their effects. For example, highfalutin finishes with a crackle, tailgater is all crackle, dreamcatcher finishes with crackle as well. So I have all those kind of finishing at the same time. Got some comments in here that do some fun things, and then moving on up for the finale. Basically the show is broken into 3 sections. The first part has kind of a crackle finale, and then there's a very slight pause, and we move into the next part, and I got some fun things planned to transition that. The end of the second part is a strobe. Just everything is basically strobes. And then that ends and that moves into the finale. Now the finale's got 2 parts, of course, the fake finale and the actual finale. And again, I have some fun things planned in that. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but if you guys enjoyed this setup, please make sure to check out the video of the show itself. Again, here is the shoot site and everything set up and ready to go. And here, let's just go ahead and zoom in here. I don't know if this is going to look as good as I think it will. Again, there you go.